huge part in loving yourself is forgiving yourself and letting yourself off the hook on a daily basis. Forgiveness can also prevent you from feeling trapped and imprisoned by your past food choices and your diet behaviors that you're probably not so proud of once you realize that they failed you and how much you abused and manipulated your body to do that. So today, I'm actually going to be sharing 3 reasons why you should choose forgiveness and forgive yourself so that way you can set yourself free and begin your very own journey towards self-love. And remember, this is the key thing here, is that the journey towards self-love really is a journey. It's a journey. It is not a destination. You do not just wake up one day and say, I love myself, everything is amazing, everything is perfect. It doesn't work like that. Self-love is a practice similar to meditation or yoga, something that you have to continuously show up for. But the more that you show up for it, the easier and easier it gets, and the more seamless it will start to become to you, okay? Because we are all worthy of this feeling, and that's why it's so important that we do show up to do this deep inner work. So if you're new to joining me, I'm going to start off by introducing myself. I am Sarah Pettis, and I am a body positive intuitive eating coach, and I am also the founder of turnupthelove.ca, and I help serial dieters to quit the diet cycle and to reconnect with food and come home to their bodies by using the power of self-love. And I also truly believe in the power of sisterhood. And I believe that when women come together to support one another versus tear each other down, we can literally tap into our own power by doing that and shift and change the entire world by raising each other up. So please send me some love if you believe in the power of sisterhood or you believe in the power of love, and send me the love and the kind and gentle reminder that I need today that this message is important. So thank you for doing that very, very much. So I actually just wanted to start off this discussion by asking a question. Or not asking a question, but maybe just reflecting on something. So I want you to think of a friend or a loved one that might have hurt you or did wrong by you. Think about that person. And then I want you to ask yourself, were you able to forgive them after they had hurt you or done wrong by you? And how did that change your relationship once you were able to forgive them? And also, what would your life look like if you were able to forgive yourself the same way that you gave and provided forgiveness to those loved ones that you cared for that might have made some mistakes that would have hurt you? How would your life change if you gave yourself that same treatment and that same care and that same love? Or what if you let yourself off the hook for mistreating your body? Because I know that if you're following me, chances are you've been through a very hard, long battle with yourself and your body and your relationship to yourself and your body and maybe food too. So what if you forgave yourself or let yourself off the hook for eating an entire bag of potato chips, or for starving yourself, or maybe even for pushing your body so incredibly hard to the point of injury, when really what you needed was rest? What if you could forgive yourself for that? How would your life look like then? So there's been a lot of people in my life that I've had to forgive at one time or another. For example, I had to forgive my father for cheating on my mother when I was just really young. I was an infant. I've also had to forgive my mother for not standing up to my stepfather who treated me unfairly from my other siblings. I've forgiven friends for betrayal and not being loyal. I've even had to forgive my own forever guy and love partner for speaking through his emotions and saying some pretty painful things that I know he didn't mean. And I've even had to forgive my 5-pound Chihuahua fur baby, who's just sleeping over on the couch right now, for going to the bathroom where she's not supposed to, especially since I just moved and she's relearning how to use her pee pad and to ask to go outside. So a lot of forgiveness there as well, right? And as tough as forgiveness is, what's been even harder for me was learning how to forgive myself. Once I learned to forgive others, learning to forgive myself was a whole other ball game. It was very challenging. Very challenging. It's tough, right? But I did. I had to learn how to forgive myself. And I had to forgive myself for abusing my body with alcohol, with drugs, late night benders. I've had to forgive myself for speaking so cruelly and unkindly to my body. I've had to forgive myself for using my body to get attention from men. I've had to forgive myself for starving myself. I've had to forgive myself for going on the birth control pill for 10 years and messing around with my hormones. I've had to forgive myself for eating fish as a vegan. And I've had to forgive myself for pushing my body when I needed rest. The list is really never ending. But the point is forgiveness had to happen in order for me to feel free and to let myself off the hooks from things that I might not be proud of or things that might not have been in alignment with me. But in order for me to really heal my relationship with food and my body, I had to learn to let myself off the hook. I had to. I had to free myself from all that guilt and the shame that I was carrying around. Whew, it's like that's heavy stuff. That is heavy stuff, right? So forgiveness really is everything. And forgiveness is what stops you from feeling trapped by your past decisions and experiences. And that's exactly why I wanted to show up and hold space to talk about forgiveness with you today. All right? So just to break it down, this is what I'm going to be addressing today. So I'm going to be addressing how forgiving yourself can prevent you from feeling trapped and imprisoned by your food choices and diet behaviors. I'm also going to be chatting about why loving yourself is forgiving yourself and literally letting yourself off the hook on a daily basis, and why you should set yourself free by choosing forgiveness and begin your very own journey towards self-love. And this is where it really starts and begins. Okay, so are you guys with me? Ready to get into some deep, juicy stuff? Because that's how I roll, is by going deep and talking about the things that we need to be talking about. Even if you might not be ready for it, sometimes just hearing it from someone else gets you thinking in that direction, and that's my intention here. Okay, so reason number one why you need to forgive yourself and let yourself off the hook. Reason number one is because the blame and the shame are often way worse. Carrying that blame and shame are often way worse than the original poor choice that you made. All right? The blame and the shame are often way worse than the original poor choice that you made. Okay? So when it comes to your relationship with yourself and your body, What is something that you're currently blaming yourself for or feeling shameful about? So I gave you a lot of examples as to things that I was holding on to and things that I had to forgive myself for, right? So to give you an example, I'm a vegan. And I've been a vegan now for almost 2 years. And more recently, my body has been wanting fish. My body has been asking to have fish. And being someone who works with problematic eaters and someone who studied intuitive eating and has learned to listen to my body, when my body asks for something, I like to give it to my body because I know that my body has its own innate wisdom and I want to listen to that. And so recently I decided to start eating fish again when my body asks for fish. And I really had to battle myself there. Like as a vegan, I know how polluted the oceans are. I know that when they fish, they scoop up mass amounts of other sea creatures and it destroys our oceans. And I know all this information. So it was really challenging for me, not to mention all the toxins that are in the oceans and the mercury content. But I did not want to restrict myself or feel shameful for my choices. So I ate the fish. But if I would have eaten the fish and carried that around with me day in and day out, that guilt and the blame and the shame would have been way heavier because your mental side of you is just as important as other aspects of your health, right? It's part of the mind, body, soul experience. And by carrying that blame and shame, that would have been way worse on me than having that piece of fish and just being done with it and being like, whatever, right? So if you are currently holding on to something or blaming yourself for something, I want you to just listen to me for a second, okay? Because if you allow it, shame will tear your efforts of achieving a healthy, fulfilled, and happy life apart, right? And on the vibrational energy scale, guilt and shame are actually of the lowest vibrations. Guilt and shame are the lowest vibration. So if you actually look at an energy level scale, guilt and shame are at the bottom. There's no worse feelings than guilt and shame. Guilt and shame, they're actually soul-eating emotions. They eat your soul apart, right? So when you're in that place of guilt and shame, it can be immensely challenging to get out of that because you're so stuck in beating yourself up and light does not live there. So you just over and over and over, you repeat these things, right? So by beating yourself up, you're actually hurting yourself more. Like I said, right? Like if I would have held on to that about, eating the fish, I would have been hurting myself more than just being kind and loving and letting myself off the hook. The goal here is to always choose the loving response, okay? Another example. Say your kid or your child or nephew, whatever, spilt water on the floor. Say they spill water on the floor. How do you respond to that? How do you respond to that spillage, like that spillage there? How would you respond? Would you tell them that they're clumsy and they're terrible, and you're the worst for making such a mess, look what you've done? Or would you be kind and gentle and loving in your response? And just remind your child, like, hey, like accidents happen, right? And that's what I'm talking about, is giving ourselves that same kindness and letting ourselves off the hook and not berating ourselves for our past mistakes. You feel me? So looking at what we said about guilt and shame, I want you to ask yourself how you can be more loving and how you can be more kind and how you can be more gentle by bringing love back into the situation. Because just like children, we are all human. We all make choices we are both proud of and not so proud of. We are human beings, right? And that brings me to the second reason why you absolutely need to forgive yourself is because you are human, right? Now let me ask you something. And I'd love for you to get honest about this here. What's your honest opinion on this? Do you think others are valuable because of what they do and how they act? Or are they valuable for simply being who they are? And let me repeat that. Do you think others are valuable because of what they do and how they act? Or are they valuable because of who they are? So if you associate, my hope is that you said for who they are, not what they do. My hope is that that is your belief. Because if you associate your worth by what you do, then it becomes difficult to do enough or to do it well enough, right? You will find it difficult to be perfect enough for yourself, and you're constantly going to struggle to be truly valuable, right? By being valued simply by who you are means that no action or lack of thereof can diminish or belittle or devalue you in any way, right? No action or not doing any action can belittle or devalue who you are in any way, right? Because each individual as themselves, they are important and they are special and they're unique and they are valuable for just being. For just being, right? Every individual makes choices, and some of them may not be ideal, but the choice has no implication on that value of that person, right? Their value has no correlation to their actions. Okay? So your health conditions, your eating plan, right? And your size, that doesn't define who you are. Your past actions have no implications on your worth and your value as a human, right? The lesson is to learn to let that go, to move on, to regroup, and commit to taking the next step forward, however that may show up for you. Okay? So remember, you need to let yourself off the hook because you're human. And the last and final reason why you absolutely need to let yourself off the hook and forgive yourself is because by not forgiving yourself, that's not allowing you to move on and create a life of freedom and joy and happiness. And that is your freaking birthright as a human being. You are placed on this world to experience joy and happiness and freedom, right? So what do you think is actually preventing you from forgiving yourself? What's getting in the way of that? You could really answer that. What is preventing you from forgiving yourself? Because I know, I've struggled with this too. I fully get it. Forgiveness can seem impossible for so many people, me included. I was there, right? And the reason why it can feel so impossible is because that we think that forgiveness is like condoning the behavior that we know we were wrong for, right? It's like saying that what we did wasn't wrong, or saying that what that person did wasn't wrong. And it might have been wrong, right? It might not have been the best thing. It's basically saying that whatever we did, no matter how bad, it's okay, right? But I'm going to throw you down with a truth bomb. That could not be further from the truth, okay? To forgive, it actually means to let go of your hatred. It means to let go of your hatred. The only person that is hurting by you not forgiving yourself is the hater, which is likely you. Or if you're holding on to not forgiving someone from your past or someone you care about, the only person that is hurting is you, is the hater, right? Yeah. I mean, I know you've heard this saying. I've heard this saying a million times. When you hold on to hate, it's as though you've drinking the poison expecting it to kill someone else, but really it's killing you because you've drinking the poison, right? Yeah. So when you hate yourself or you have negative thoughts about others, your body creates like all this negative chemistry, right? And it's ultimately damaging to your body. I mean, like it raises your blood pressure, it hardens your arteries, it can lead to stroke, heart attacks, ulcers, acne, headaches, dementia, nausea, like eczema, asthma, like the list goes on, right? The list is endless. Because when we maintain and hold attachments to the past, it stops us. It literally puts a halt in our journey to move forward. The emotions of negativity that we hold on to, they're like elastic bands. And every time, if you hold on to it, it's going to come smashing back at you in the face. So you're going to hold on, it's going to go, boom, no, here it is. Boom, no, here it is. That's what happens if you don't forgive yourself. It's literally like an elastic band that you're holding on to, and it just shoots back at you, right? It keeps pulling us back from our progression in life. So please, think about these 3 things that I mentioned today. Think about these 3 things, that the blame and the shame are actually worse carrying that around than usually the bad thing that we did or we say that we did. Secondly, we're all human, right? And we make mistakes. It happens. It's part of our life journey. And number 3, that you don't want forgiveness to be the thing that gets in the way of your joy and happiness, right? So please allow yourself the gift of forgiveness. Don't let situations stop you from moving forward. Set yourself free from all this pain and the sadness of your past and use that as strength and motivation as you keep getting better and reaching your highest self, right? So now I want to leave you with this question. How do you think your life will transform by you showing up to do this very important work? How do you think your life will transform? Ask yourself that. And I have a quote that I wanted to share with you because I thought it was really amazing and deep in speaking about forgiveness. Okay? So I am willing to forgive myself. My forgiveness is incomplete if it does not include myself. Today, I send love and compassion in my direction. I release the words should and could, and I see mistakes as they are, lessons. I am learning. I am growing. Regret has no place in this day. I am willing to be at peace in my own skin. Girls, I know you need, and guys too. And guys, you need that one too. I am willing to believe in my worth. I believe in myself. I set myself free and I choose freedom in this moment. Boom. Yeah, it's a goodie. I saw that and I was like, so damn appropriate. So replay that one if you have to. Boop, boop, boop. Scratch that record. So thank you guys all for joining me in this chat about forgiveness. I'm actually doing a Facebook Live and an Instagram story at the same time, so sorry if I wasn't looking at the camera. I'm present. I just can't look at both at once. And before I go, I just wanted to let you guys all know that as of October 23rd, I'm going to be hosting a 5-day free Back to Love challenge that's going to be going down inside of my favorite and all-time sparkly space, Turn Up the Love Insiders, which is a Facebook group for women who are learning to ditch the diet cycle, reconnect with their bodies and food, and find sisterhood. So it's all going to be going down inside the Turn Up the Love Insiders. And when I ran this challenge last year, the girls gained so much from it, and they really kickstarted their journey to self-love. And all month long, I'm going to be talking about the importance of self-love. So be sure to catch me live every single Thursday at noon, leading up to the end of the month. But if you want to get yourself inside that self-love challenge, definitely get yourself inside. If you're watching on Instagram, check it out in my bio. You can join there. If you're watching on Facebook, I'll be adding the link to join in the comment section. Okay, guys, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Remember to stay kind, be loving, and always choose a loving response when it comes to yourself. You deserve that forgiveness. Have an amazing day, and we will chat so incredibly soon.